Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Contreras, and some good news is that my neck pain that I was going through in the previous video is now gone. So I am more than happy to talk to you guys about the next volume in the Attack on Titan manga series that we've been looking at, Volume 6. Now, before we get started, I want to say that I feel like this volume has a lot more better focus compared to the previous one. It doesn't like jump to different like areas as often, but there is one occasion where that does happen, and I'm not going to go so far into ranting about how I don't really like that sort of decision for as a way of telling the story, as I feel like I talked about that enough in my previous video that you guys can check out. But right now, let's begin with the story and what happens in this volume. The first part of it starts off with our three characters on the front cover, John, Armin, and Reiner, as the two see Armin in an encounter with what they believe at first to be an abnormal Titan because of how differently it acts compared to others, but eventually Armin realizes that it's even more abnormal than what an actual abnormal Titan would be, as it seems to be more aware of its surroundings, and whenever the soldiers that encountered it tried to take it head on, she was able to kill them very easily. And one thing that is interesting to Armin immediately about this Titan is that when she grabs him, she doesn't immediately eat him as a actual Titan would do so. And as a result, he thinks that this Titan is similar to Eren, as he thinks that there is someone actually inside there, and he also thinks that this Titan is searching for Eren. So John shows a bit more of his leadership skills in this volume, as he's the one who decides to try to give the rest of the huge squad that went outside the walls time to possibly abort the mission before this Titan can go towards them. And to do that, they not only fire off a flare, but they also try to distract the Titan, which they actually manage to do so rather well. And an interesting tidbit about when they're distracting him is that just as John and Armin think that Reiner got crushed by the Titan's hands, he would actually manage to escape from it, which is if I reckon was the first time we ever saw a soldier be able to actually escape a Titan. So that sort of gets you thinking about how he was possibly able to do that. But despite the fact that they were able to distract her very well, the Titan still gets away, but they feel like they were able to distract it long enough. And afterward, the message of this Titan heading towards where Eren could possibly be, gets all the other soldiers' attention, and we then see more shots of the female Titan, as it's called, just completely owning on a bunch of soldiers that are trying to take it on. Which one thing that sort of was kind of interesting to me about this. This was during the time Reiner, John, and Armin were trying to distract it, but there are some shots when the Titan was about to attack, and whoever this Titan is has a very good sense of balance. It's I'm surprised that with the sort of angle she's at, I'm surprised that she doesn't accidentally tip over. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. But after that, the side characters are sort of pushed aside as we then the major focus of the volume is on Aaron, Levi, and the rest of the Survey Corps, as they are the ones who go inside this humongous forest where whereas the side characters go all around the forest and are standing on top of the trees, and what they're supposed to do is that they're supposed to keep any other Titans from entering the forest. And meanwhile, when all this is happening, the female Titan heads inside there, and then pretty much the rest of the volume, in its current time frame, is focused on this huge chase that the female Titan is having with the Survey Corps, and you know they're all sort of conflicted on what they're supposed to do during this. Some of them try to fight her, but as the rest of the volume has showed us, she is more than capable of taking on multiple soldiers at once. So they ask for Levi's what he commands, and he just tells them to just keep moving forward, which they all do so. And the only one who seems to be questioning all that is Aaron. He doesn't understand, like, why are they just, like, you know, not trying to take them on too. They seem to be very capable soldiers, considering they're on the faction of the military that goes out and fights these things pretty much on a daily basis. And Aaron is sort of conflicted on whether or not he should just do the same thing that they're doing, or if he should use his Titan power to try and take on this female Titan himself. And the rest of the Survey Corps takes notice to this, and they just keep on telling Aaron, you know, to trust them. But Aaron keeps on mentioning the fact that, you know, they could do something about this, and they're not. They're just letting these soldiers die on them. And meanwhile, after all this stuff starts happening, we then cut to a flashback of when Aaron was with the Survey Corps, and they were trying to study more of his Titan transformation. And you know, they try a experiment where they put Aaron inside of a giant well to see if he could transform, and if he could be contained in this well. And he is unable to do so at that moment, but afterward he manages to do so without even seeming to actually trigger it. And this of course startles all of the rest of the Survey Corps, who now have their blades on hand and are like freaking out because they don't know why Aaron would suddenly do this without the permission to do so. And Levi's, you know, all just telling them to calm down and stuff. Which, that sort of scene, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, because, you know, just minutes before that, they were talking to Aaron about how, you know, it's fine. They would rather have that sort of thing fail than have their life be on the line if Aaron went berserk. And one of them even talks about how he's more human than they actually thought. But now it seems like as soon as this event happens, they all sort of act completely different to the situation, as if they've never even met Aaron before. And afterward, you know, after they've all calmed down, and they're all inside, I presume to be the castle that they settled in the previous volume. Levi talks to Eren about how the fact that they trust very few people is the reason why Levi chose them to be part of the Survey Corps. The fact that they've seen this stuff so much, and despite that, they're always going into a situation where they don't know what's going to happen. And afterward, after they apologize, and Hanji, the pretty much the one that actually likes to experiment on the Titans, after he sort of analyzes the whole scene and how his Titan transformation got triggered without him trying to cause him pain, is because when he was in the well, he didn't seem to have any sort of goal in mind when turning into a Titan. While in the previous ones, Eren had some sort of goal and reason for turning into a Titan, like when he did so to get free of the Titan that tried to eat him, or when the reason he turned into a Titan was to lift the boulder and block the wall. And one of the Survey Corps members tells Eren to again to trust them, which ends the flashback and cuts us back to the present time during this chase, which is kind of funny when you think about it. They were able to have this whole conversation while they're being chased by this Titan that's getting closer and closer to them. And then Eren has to make a choice to either trust himself or to trust the people that surround him, and Eren decides to actually trust his teammates, and as a result seems to have been the better choice, as the entire Survey Corps had a plan all along to capture the female Titan, which they managed to do so, and that's pretty much where the volume ends in terms of its story. And I gotta say, this, aside from the flashback scene I talked to you about, this one, again, definitely has a lot more focus compared to the previous volume. The, each of the, main, major parts of the volume has a set number of characters that they focus on. The first one's, of course, about our trio on the front cover here, and then the rest of it is on Eren and his interactions with the Survey Corps. And it has a lot more excitement and a lot more tension, I want to say, because when you're reading this, you don't know who's in danger of this Titan that's heading towards Eren, and it makes the volume a lot more interesting to read. And of course, the three cover characters here, their interactions with each other was probably my favorite part of the volume. Mostly because I like it when the side characters have their time to shine, and then this volume, the first part of this volume, definitely excels at that. So, again, I really like this volume, and if you're getting into the series and you want to read more of it, I do recommend you give this a look at. So, yeah, I hope you all enjoyed me talking about this Volume 6 of the Attack on Titan manga. I had fun talking to you guys about it, and until we get to Volume 7, I am Benjamin Contreras, and bye.